Episode 5 of the Babysitters Club is Dawn and the Impossible 3. And it was a very good episode. If you like the book, you're gonna like this episode. It was a very solid adaptation. I think they really nailed the book. They hit all the important parts. It's very solid. So again, if you like the book, you're gonna like the episode. It was a very good episode, which pretty much follows this very good book. Now, that said, they did make a couple of changes, all minor things. They work within the context of the episode, but I will point them out. First, Dawn's family members. So, Dawn's brother Jeff is nowhere to be seen in this episode. He never gets mentioned. I don't know where he is. I guess we could assume he's still in California, or he just doesn't exist. There are some books where he's a major character, like he's a major character in this book, but this is book 98, so it's going to be at least 10 years before they get around to adapting this book, so I don't think they need to worry that much. But if there's a future episode where they do need to bring in Jeff, I think they could get away with saying he was in California the whole time and nobody mentioned him until now. It wouldn't be ideal, but it would work. I just kind of miss Jeff. Jeff was always a really fun, humorous character. He always cast a different dynamic on Dawn because we get to see her as an older sister. That was nice. That was nice. So not having him there, it's not the end of the world, but it still makes me a little bit sad inside. Also with Dawn's family. So she has a dad who is gay, and that's why he got divorced from Dawn's mom. So in the books, mostly this book, but also in Dawn's book, they go into more detail about the divorce, and Jack totally cheated on Sharon. So he was like spending nights by himself in a hotel room. Yeah, he was cheating on her all the time, and that's why they got divorced. And so here in the episode, it was a very friendly breakup, and they still like each other. And that's a different way of portraying the divorce, because the main storyline of this book is Mrs. Barretts. They call them the Barretts in this episode. I always said Barrett like the hair accessory, so it kind of bugged me that they called them the Barretts, but they're probably correct. They probably have the right pronunciation. I'm probably saying it wrong. Anyway, so the Barretts have three kids, and they're just wild and crazy kids. But Mrs. Barrett is the real disaster. She's just this disaster mom. She has no idea what's going on in her life. She's lost control of her kids. She recently got divorced, and she's having to get a job for the first time. Her house is a mess. Her kids are a disaster. Actually, her kids are not so bad. Dawn gets them to clean up the house, and it's very nice, and the kids are really cute. And but Mrs. Barrett is just a disaster, and she's constantly screwing up. And so I feel like in the book, you could draw more of a contrast between Mrs. Barrett and Dawn's mom, because they're both similar. These are both women who recently got divorced, who are absent-minded in general, and who have to raise children by themselves for the first time. And that really is not there in the episode. So the contrast is sort of there in the book. It's not really there in the episode. In the episode, it's more Dawn's mom is absent-minded, but we don't really see her struggling to raise two kids by herself, mainly because she's only got one kid, and Dawn is super responsible. Another minor nitpick. Oh, okay, so this book was basically our introduction to Dawn. It's her first Dawn book. So, in the previous episode, we got to see a lot of Dawn. So this episode was less of an introduction to Dawn, less of a chance to see her for the first time compared to the book. So this episode actually continued the previous episode storyline of Marianne's dad dating Dawn's mom. So don't really do that so much in the book. Mainly because the parents do not invite their teenage children along when they go out on dates. So this episode sort of tried its best to show what the relationship was like. So they meet each other at the supermarket, and they have dinner at the house, and then Dawn's mother is talking with Kristy's mom about her boyfriend. And that was kind of strange. It worked well within the context of the episode. It's interesting to see the storyline continue. But it's also a little odd because babysitters weren't really important in that scene. It was basically the adults by themselves. The babysitters were just sort of in the background, not being important. I think that's the first time the series has had a scene like that, where it's just, the adults by themselves. We haven't really seen that. So the other main part of the episode is about the relationship between Dawn and Kristy. Dawn is trying to be accepted by Kristy and become an important member of the Babysitters Club. And that was actually a change they made, but it worked pretty well. So in the books, Dawn is a member of the Babysitters Club at the start of this, whereas in the episode, she's not a member of the Babysitters Club at the start of it. She gets made a member by the end. So Dawn is trying to become friends with Kristy. Kristy's basically the only one who doesn't want Dawn in the Babysitters Club. And Kristy was great in this episode. So Kristy doesn't like Dawn because she feels Dawn is stealing her best friend Marianne. And again, that's sort of a parallel to what's going on with the parents. Because Kristy feels like Watson is stealing her mother away in the same way Dawn is stealing her friend Marianne away. And Kristy is feeling very nervous about that. And actually in the book, there's this minor subplot about Kristy moving away. She actually leaves her house, and now she's moving into Watson's house in the book. And so that really, explains her feelings, why she's feeling so nervous in general and feeling extra nervous about with Dawn. So I feel like that's the reason why they made the change with Dawn's dad, why he's still on such friendly terms with Dawn's family, is because it makes a good contrast to Kristy's dad. And that was really well done. So in the episode, Kristy's more upset about the fact that she has a terrible dad, and her dad, Patrick, is just this absentee father who left the family and just ran away and never contacts them. And Kristy's brother, Sam, or was it Charlie? One of her brothers cried his eyes out on his last birthday because dad never showed up. And that's really sad. And so, and this episode really kind of brings that home with Kristy's really upset about her dad. And I really liked that. It worked super well. In the book, it was more she's mad about Watson, but here it's more she's really mad about being abandoned by her father. Another minor change. So Dawn's trying to get Kristy to like her. So here in the episode, Dawn is very mature, and she asks Kristy for help. She's like, Kristy, you're such a great babysitter. Can you teach me how to take care of the Barrett kids? And Kristy's like, yeah, okay. And that was really nice. It was a really good idea on Dawn's part to ask Kristy for a favor. That's a good technique. It's called the Franklin effect. If you ask somebody to do you a favor, they end up really liking you. People tend to like you if you ask them for a favor. In the book, what Dawn did was invite Kristy over to her house, and then they went swinging on a rope in the barn. And that's how they bonded, because Kristy's more adventurous than Marianne. So they did something that Marianne would never do with Dawn. And that's what made them bond, because it's a special thing that's just between Dawn and Kristy. It wasn't a big thing. They're just playing in the barn. But it was still a good way for them to connect. But I really like how they did it in this episode here by going into Kristy's insecurities about her father. And it plays perfectly into the storyline about the Barretts, because both in the book and the episode, Buddy goes missing towards the end. He just flat out disappears. Nobody knows where he went. It turns out that his father picked him up. The mom got the dates wrong by accident and forgot to tell Dawn. So in this episode, Dawn calls Kristy, and that, in the book, she doesn't call Kristy. I'm pretty sure she doesn't call Kristy. She takes care of the situation on her own because she's a very mature, responsible person. She's the mature member of the Babysitters Club. But here in the episode, she calls Kristy, which makes her slightly less mature, but it really works. Kristy takes charge of the episode, and it leads to a really nice scene in the kitchen where Kristy and Dawn... Kristy just goes nuts and starts destroying bags of chips, and it made me hungry because I really wanted some chips. But then she smashed the bags of chips open, and you might have noticed that the bags of chips just exploded, and there weren't that many chips inside the bag. The bag was mostly empty air. I hate it when chip bags do that. Really, that's the worst. But, so what Dawn does is she uses one of Kristy's babysitting techniques on Kristy. She just shouts, makes a loud noise to calm Kristy down. And it works. I thought that was really clever. That was really good. And, had this emotional moment where Kristy explains she really, really is just mad about her dad. And she's jealous of Dawn. She's jealous of Dawn's relationship with her dad and Dawn's relationship with Marianne. And, that was great. I love the interpersonal relationships. They work so well. And we had another really great moment like that at the end of the episode where the girls are decorating Marianne's room. That's basically what the other club members did. They were just checking out cool room designs on Pinterest. We didn't really see that much of Claudia and Stacy. So Dawn's mom was helping clean up, and then Marianne's dad gets really, really mad. He tells them to go, and a very silent scene. I don't think there was any talking at all in the scene, where he pulls out an old photograph of Marianne's mom when she's pregnant decorating the room, and that's why he's so upset. That's why he loves the room. He sees it as a tribute to his dead wife, and that also was really emotional and hit home. So good episode overall, very much follows the book, has these big emotional moments and these personal connections between the characters. Works really well. I like it a lot. And next book, our next episode is going to be book number 7. We're going to skip over book number 6 for now, I think. So next episode is Claudia and Mean Janine, which is also a lot about interpersonal relationships. And just based on how good this episode was, I'm looking forward to that one.